something or be somewhere else. And this lady, she walked in with like this pudding, and she called it a pudding pie, and it was a purple pudding with all these fruits in it. And I was able to taste it. Like, I didn't actually like dab my finger and like tasted it. I just looked at it and I can just get that taste in my mouth. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Lauren Ashley, and in this video I am going to show you how to use telepathy in order to communicate with the universe. So I can give you a little timeline here of how I ended up with telepathy. It all started in the beginning when I saw a psychic medium. I think the moment I went to see a psychic medium was the moment that my soul began to expand. Actually, no, I can say that ever since I started like gravitating towards these spiritual awakening, I started watching a lot more videos about it because I felt that there was some sort of shift in the planet, and I started to feel different in my body, and I started to... Hey John Hildreth, how are you? So there was like this shift in this planet, and there was this shift in the entire universe, and I started to somehow connect more with the planet, and I started to see anything and everyone completely different. So I think the moment I stepped into this whole spiritual awakening, the moment I stopped living this 3D type of way, you have like the third dimension, the fourth and the fifth dimension, you can expand your consciousness by, I don't know, just being aware of who you are as a spiritual being having a human experience. You begin to become aware of that, therefore you are stepping out of this third dimension and entering into the fourth and fifth dimension, which are higher states of consciousness. I guess it started there. Then it started when I started to see the psychic medium, because I felt like I was at a loss. I felt like I was going through a lot of changes. I just felt like this was a whole journey for me. I started traveling and stuff, and this was during a time where I was open to going down south to visit my aunt and uncle. I was thinking about going to Mississippi. When I saw the psychic medium, as soon as I sat down, she jumped right into the reading. She said, "Are you going south?" And I'm just like, my heart dropping, like, oh my gosh, she's reading me. She's like reading my soul. And I'm just like, yeah, I was thinking about going to Mississippi and Atlanta, Georgia, just to figure myself out, just to get a peace of mind. Like, I haven't gone to Mississippi since I was 5 years old. So the reading started there. And then she said, well, you have a lot of spirit guides in here. My friend who passed away a few months ago, his name is Mustafa. He was shot and killed by a racist. I think he's in prison right now, and I'm not sure what the charges are. You know how Indiana is, they're not saying that this was a hate crime because that's just the way the Indiana law works. So now they're fighting it. But his spirit was in the room with me because we used to be friends, and he obviously cared a lot about me. So he was in the room, and I felt like in order for me to get a peace of mind was to relay information back to his family. So I'm just like, okay, well, is there anything that I can tell Mustafa, or is there anything that I could tell Mustafa's family? And he basically told me all of the information that I needed to relay back to his family. He basically mentioned all of his brothers and sisters, and he was basically saying that he's happy, he's in the light, he's where he needs to be. And I felt like just getting all of those messages was an eye-opener for me, because I've come from a very religious background. You know what I'm saying? And they were very strict. They were like just one-track minded way of thinking. They only thought that certain people would get into the light, and I just felt like it was wrong. I felt like it was wrong to condition people's way of thinking by manipulating the Bible, or just manipulating the text, or just manipulating anything to alter, you know, your way of thinking. It's just not right. And so when I got those messages from Mustafa, it was an eye-opener for me, because it just goes to show that anyone in this entire planet can see the light. And so After that, I started to start my spiritual journey. I went to Mississippi. I saw my aunt and uncle. I started to see miraculous signs. Like, I started to see a lot of things like the lights flickering. I started to see, people coming to me with very profound messages. Like, I remember going to this church. This lady didn't know who I was, and she just came out and said it. She just said, "Woman of God." And it just took me by surprise, because I'm just like, what? And I'm like, you think that? And it's just like, well, this is what the Lord is telling me, woman of God. And then I'm going to get into the whole telepathy thing. This is going to lead up into the telepathy thing of how we're like getting all these messages and stuff. And so I'm just like, okay, cool. So I'm just basically going through these cycles of my life over the past 3 months, and a lot has changed since then. Like, I've experienced a lot of things, like a lot of intuitive things, such as clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience. I would start to see things, like see spirits. I would have spirits like get into my computer and make all kinds of noises. You want to write about the cinema? Okay, go ahead. What in good behavior? I would just experience it all. And I would even see the future. I would manifest things that I dream about into my physical reality. So I would see realistic events that had happened. Like even my rollerblading accident, that has been predetermined, where I had a dream of some guy sliding his body on a concrete, just scraping his entire body due to the friction on the concrete. I woke up from it because I thought it was disturbing, but it happened to me. I was going down a steep hill, 30 miles per hour, and I just felt like, well, I feel like something worse could happen. I could run into a tree and break my neck, or I could injure myself or another person. Like, if I just keep going, maybe something would happen. So I just threw myself and I slid down that steep hill, and I ripped off a huge chunk of skin on my thigh. So I have scars, and this is what I'm dealing with, and it's okay. I'm okay. Like, I made it out of it, and I can definitely see the spiritual symbolism behind it, because this was a way to simply be still, stay at home, and just heal. This was the time of healing, and I felt like I wasn't giving myself that time to simply heal. So yeah, that's pretty much all the things that I have experienced. And, I've gone through the rebirthing process where I would communicate with the cosmos. I would communicate with the angels. I would use tarot cards. That's what opens your soul. Like, if you want to use telepathy, you have to be able to be open. You have to be open to the idea that these spirits exist. You have to be receptive to the messages that they give you. And you have to be able to meditate. You have to be exercising, doing things like yoga. You have to be doing all of these things in order to accrue these intuitive powers. And in my case, I ended up with telepathy. It was because I was using tarot cards, I was doing yoga, and I was also doing meditation. I went to a very special meditation that was led by a yogi, an Indian yogi. His name is Sadhguru, and that is what activated my intuitive abilities, because I was taught how to be present and to quiet my mind and to be still. And I'm actually going to go back to their temple and do more of their meditations, because I just want to get back into the habit of just being still and quieting my mind. So yeah, I started to experience all of these things because I would simply just communicate with the universe on the daily basis. It starts with a simple openness. It starts with a simple shift that something is out there and you're willing to know more about it. It started off by saying, you know what? A lot has happened in my life. You know what? A lot of density has happened in my life, and I'm looking to be lighter, and I'm looking to understand more. So what's out there? Just ask, ask God, ask the angels, ask Jesus Christ, ask your spirit guides, ask the loved ones that has passed. They have the answers, but you have to be first open, and you have to simply ask And surprisingly enough, you do get your answer. You may not get it right then and there, but I guarantee you that the answer will come to you later.